Welcome back to Doing Football. Today, overvalued running backs. Guys, we just cannot take at their current ADPs. Before we get into the show, in the description down below, our fantasy football draft guide. Definitely go check it out. Sleepers, busts, breakouts, positional rankings, everything. Jared, but first, they need to like, they need to comment.
Check out the Discord, subscribe.
Yep. Subscribe to the channel. Jared, let's get started. We talked about this, but I don't even remember who you have, so give me your running back that's overvalued.
My running back that is overvalued is Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Currently has an ADP of 46 or running back 22. So he's going towards the end of the fourth round right now, which way too high for me. Like everything we're hearing out of Jaguars camp is that he's just going to be the third down back. James Robinson will be the primary ball carrier. And Urban Meyer even said that if James Robinson went down with an injury, Carlos Hyde would be the guy to come in and take those carries. Now, maybe he won't, but if the coach is even saying Etienne won't have the primary ball carrier role with the primary guy currently going down, then it's not a good sign. Now, he's going to be very involved, but mainly through the passing game. Like I compare him to like a James White this season in terms of the kind of role he's going to have. He's going to be very involved in the passing game, but the amount of touch he's going to get isn't going to be high enough to where I would be willing to use a fourth-round pick on him. Now, people are going to say, oh, but he's the most talented guy in this backfield. That doesn't matter. Teams in the past have always done what they're going to say with rookies. Look at Swift last year with Adrian Peterson, Kerryon Johnson there. It still took so long for him to take over. Dobbins with Ingram and Edwards. He didn't take over with those two. Akers with Malcolm Brown, Darrell Henderson. He didn't take over. Even Jonathan Taylor with Nyheim Hines and Jordan Wilkins. It took so long for him to take over.
Yeah, it was that Marlon Mack injury was huge for his season overall last year for Jonathan Taylor. I think that there's people that'll probably spin their ways into a positive outlook for Travis Etienne. It's probably draft capital invested in him. This is the guy that Trevor Lawrence played 3 years of college with. He's looking. This is going to be a reliable player for Trevor Lawrence to go to. You know what? All that might be the case and all of that might be true, but we're still talking about James Robinson, who had a fantastic season in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's still there.
He's still a relevant player. These guys could both be, they could be successful when they get their work, but they're not going to get enough work to be guys that should justify drafting in the fourth round, plain and simple. And Travis Etienne, I've talked about it when we talked about rookies back in July or June. His rushing totals, his yards per carry dropped every single year in college into his fourth season. And it dropped to I think it was 5 point something. And when you play for the best college team in the sport, and you've got a stellar group of all offensive pieces on the team, and your yard per carry go down, it's a bit of a red flag to me. I'm not in love with Travis Etienne's talent. I think pass catching wise, he's still good. He can break for a big play, but I don't really love his play between the tackles either. So it makes sense to me that James Robinson would be the guy that they go to as the pure runner and the guy between the tackles.
Like, I don't think as a talent, he's better than like Swift was or even Dobbins was. Like, I think most of the guys last year were better pure talents and had a better chance of breaking through in their offense than him. So the odds of Travis Etienne actually coming out and taking a workhorse role in this offense are so very slim. He's not going to have the goal line work either. Like James Robinson was a very good goal line back last year.
Scored a lot of touchdowns.
And they didn't even actually get that many goal line carries. Like last year, they only had 7 carries as a team on the goal line.
Yeah, he was just efficient. I just don't, you can be excited about Javonte Williams as a player. I'm not.
You mean Travis Etienne?
Or sorry, Javonte Williams. You can be excited about Travis Etienne as a player, but I just don't think you're not going to get the value in fantasy.
Not going to be consistent either.
No chance. I'll go to who I have as an overvalued running back this season. We've touched on the players in this group quite a bit. It's Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. Right now going as the running back 18 off the board. You're going to find him in the middle of the third round. I have a lot of things I want to mention about Josh Jacobs, the offense as a whole, where their outlook is in 2021. So last year, Josh Jacobs received a lot of work, a lot of touches, finished as the RB8. He had a 3.9 yards per carry. Pedestrian,
very
garbage,
bad.
shit. John Gruden goes, I'm going to lay an atomic bomb to this offensive line this offseason, and we're going to get rid of everybody, and we're going to put it into the hands of a big reach on Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama. The guy is
always reached on the first round.
Yeah, he's absolutely in love with like, hey, let's take this guy who played on the national championship level team, and he's going to translate to the NFL. We saw it with Cleveland Farrell, who came from Clemson, that they reached an insane amount for on their defensive line. Ruggs, they're now doing it with Leatherwood. I don't really think that Leatherwood's a bad piece. I think there were a lot of other options. It was a reach, and he's immediately he is starting. There's no question about it. He will be starting in this offensive line. There's a battle at center between the former Texans center.
Well, that's never a good thing if it's the former Texans offensive lineman.
I can't remember his name now, but anyways, it's between former Texans center from the last 4 seasons and then an undrafted free agent, Nick Martin, who had a PFF grade of 27.3 or 23.4. So the outlook for the offensive line,
the battle.
Carving out, a higher yards per carry for Josh Jacobs it doesn't look good. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably not going to happen. He might not be able to exceed 3.9 yards per carry. And PFF ranked the Raiders offensive line this season as the 26th overall. Sharp Football is projecting that they have the 3rd toughest strength of schedule on the season. So I'm thinking that we're going to an even more pass-heavy game script for this team in general. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kenyon Drake, acquired by the Raiders in the offseason. These two guys were top 4 in the NFL in red zone touches. I think
both the two of them?
Yep. Jacobs was second, I think around 66, and then Drake was 4th with 57.
Both were also terribly efficient.
Yes, both of their rates in the red zone were very similar in terms of their touchdowns ratio to their total touches in the red zone. So in total here, Jacobs is a volume play. He has been his 2 seasons in the NFL. He gets volume. Fantasy football is about volume. That's why was the RB8 last year. It was because of volume. It wasn't because of productivity. He scored 11 of his 12 rushing touchdowns in the end zone or in the red zone. So I think there's going to be a split here.
Runs.
Yeah, he's not breaking off big runs. Look, I'm comfortable if he's my RB3. You'll be happy if he's your running back 3 because there's still going to be some volume for him here. I think his floor is fine as a running back 3. But why on earth would I take him before this list of guys that are going in front of him? Chris Carson, he's going to have the volume, doesn't have any competition. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, one of the best offenses in football. They're going to give him every opportunity to produce. We talked about him in the last episode. David Montgomery, another guy, will have the volume, will not have the competition.
Definitely more upside there.
What do you think of Myles Gaskin or Josh Jacobs?
I don't really like either of them this year, but honestly, Myles Gaskin definitely has a higher ceiling because we saw last year Brian Flores wanted to use a workhorse running back, and Myles Gaskin could easily take that role yet again.
Exactly. They didn't make any additions. I thought they were going to draft somebody. They didn't.
I would compare him to Damian Harris in a way. I think they have very similar outlooks this year. Jacobs a little bit higher upside with the touchdowns just because Cam Newton's going to take them.
Yep.
But they're both going to not be very used in the passing game, and they're both going to get a decent amount of carries. Probably not that efficient though. So
Gaskin isn't that efficient.
Yeah,
isn't that efficient either. Harris as well. Harris is more efficient than Josh Jacobs to me. But
yet there's a 3-round difference in where they're going.
Yeah, exactly. The 3rd round, guys. Do not put yourself in a position where you need this guy as your second running back.
He was falling further in drafts earlier in the offseason, but he's creeping back up a bit. I remember in some dynasty drafts he would fall into the 5th round, and at that point I'm willing to take him there because that's a pretty good value. But if you're going to take him in the 3rd round as your running back too. That's not something I like.
Again, we've said it before. If we're taking running back early, and I'm in the 5th or the 6th, and Jacobs is there, probably not the 6th. Never be in the 6th.
He'll never be that late.
But the 5th, if he was in the back of the 4th or the 5th, then I'm like, okay, there's some value there. I'll take him. But right now, it's running back 18, and those guys are listed on Sleeper are apparently going behind him. So, again, Josh Jacobs, I would avoid, especially in the 3rd round. Avoid him as your RB2. Absolutely, same goes for.
Travis Etienne.
Just let's avoid those guys.
At the start of the dead zone.
Exactly. Anyways, overvalued running backs. Let us know what you guys think. List some overvalued guys or guys you're avoiding at the running back position this season. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Again, we're just pumping fantasy football content out for the next month, so be sure to stay tuned. We'll see you next time.